All right, let's get started on 24-hour temperature cast, the easiest part of our forecast for today. It starts warm. It's going to get hot this afternoon. It's going to stay warm overnight tonight. Yesterday, like the day before, we were talking low 90s. I think today we're going to talk low 90s. And then we'll wait to see the first in what should be a series of waves of showers starts to work its magic to cool things down. But I do expect another warm and muggy start to tomorrow. The air is going to be really unstable. So that means it's not going to take much to generate some thunderstorms instead of just some regular showers. I don't see a lot in our area yet. We widen out that view and we're going to see a whole bunch off to our north. And this is the first piece of energy that's well ahead of the actual boundary that will get through the area and change things up for us. That boundary is not going to get here till lunchtime tomorrow, maybe a little after lunch tomorrow. So shower chances are going to stay in the forecast until that boundary clears. And that means not until tomorrow afternoon. And once we get to tomorrow afternoon, now we start looking for a little brighter, a little drier, a little bit more comfortable, even if that too is just going to be temporary. It's 70 right now in Valdosta, warm to get started. Thomasville, Tallahassee checking in at 72. Not a lot of wind to stir things up. Dew points up near 70. All that tells me we're going to find more fog in more spots, especially if those winds stay as calm as they are. Look at all these numbers that start with a 7. That's 79 at Apalachicola. These are middle of summer numbers, not early May numbers. In Bainbridge, we're at 75. Camilla, we're at 76. The only place is not in the 70s right now. Perry and Cross City at 69, 68. Normally, we'd be talking like 60 or 61 for morning temperatures at this point in May. Now, there is a little bit of a breeze trying in some of our western areas, so I'm expecting to find some of that thicker fog in some of the eastern spots. Right now, Perry, Live Oak, Homerville, all down below 1 mile. We will likely find more spots developing more fog. There are watches to our north, up in parts of northern Mississippi, Alabama, and even a little bit into parts of Georgia. We'll watch and we'll see if any of those get extended south. I think at some point, maybe overnight tonight, early tomorrow morning, we'll find some watches around here too, as we're expecting some bigger storms to find our part of the southeast. I got a couple of different future casts dialed up. This first one is a short-term one. It's usually pretty good on timing, but is most of the time, especially with this kind of activity, a little aggressive. It kind of gets things going maybe a little bit more than they actually do, but it gets us thinking. So this wants to start bringing the first wave of showers through the area before the ride home tonight. I think that might be a little bit early, but it certainly is a possibility this afternoon to get that first little wave of showers. The sooner these happen, the better chance we have to knock some of those temperatures down. And yeah, with things being as hot and as humid, as unstable they are, there's a potential for a couple of bigger storms mixed in with those. It does feel like we're going to be probably talking about those maybe a little bit later on. So when we go to this version of the Futurecast, and it slows things down a little tiny bit, makes them maybe a little less severe looking, that feels a little bit more in tune with what's going to happen. We'll certainly watch and track throughout the day. We'll have updates for you as we see how things are developing. Warm, humid, unstable air doesn't take much for the showers to fire up. Now that we have some energy, that should be the thing we need to fire up those showers. And I do think by tonight we can get some. That's the first wave. There's actually going to be 3 different ones. The second one is probably the one that we're most concerned with. That's going to be the energy ahead of the boundary that is going to have the potential for the biggest storms. This is the one we've been watching all week. And I think at this point, it's feeling like maybe around this time tomorrow, before sunrise, that it starts to get into our area. And that's probably going to be our biggest chance for the biggest storms. Now, that should move quickly, get in, get out, be done with us. And then we're going to sort of sit in the warm, humid air for a little while longer until the boundary itself, until it gets here, which will likely trigger a third wave of showers. Now, that one should be a whole lot weaker than the second one, which probably is not going to be anywhere near as strong as that first one. So I think the first one, strong enough. The second one, the strongest. The third one, much weaker. But all that brings with it chances for showers and thunderstorms. Behind that boundary, till tomorrow afternoon, now we bring in the drier and the cooler. That's what makes it feel so much better and look so much nicer for Saturday, for Sunday, before more clouds, more showers. Want to get back to the forecast for early next week, but that's a whole different animal. We got plenty of time to work on that. The SPC issues outlooks. They go from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. So this is the day 1 outlook, and we have now the entire area, at least in the slight risk. We've got our South Georgia areas in the enhanced risk, and it starts today for this afternoon, but it's really for that overnight stuff or early tomorrow morning stuff. Any way you look at it, once we get to the enhanced risk category, That's that first level where we're expecting the dangerous storms. That second wave, the one that comes early tomorrow morning, is the more likely for that. And some of those could linger past 8 o'clock, which is why on the day 2 outlook, we still have some of that slight risk. But the bottom line is tomorrow morning early on, that's when we have our best chance for the biggest storms. It's not to say we couldn't get a couple of big ones later on today. So please keep checking in with us. We'll have updates for you. On the Gulf today, south and southwest winds 8 to 18, seas up to about 4 feet. It's 70s and some patchy fog this morning. This afternoon it's going to be 90s. I'll up the rain chances at least to 50-50. They're going to keep climbing tonight. Remember, it's not going to rain all afternoon, all night, and all overnight. It's going to be a couple of different waves of showers and storms, and I think the biggest one happens early tomorrow morning, but we could certainly get some activity this evening, and I think we could still have some activity into the early afternoon tomorrow. Once we get past that, things look great for Mother's Day weekend. I don't love the forecast for the beginning of next week, but like I said, we got plenty of time before we get to Monday.